Josh Pate says that the Big 12 is America's college football conference. And I just want to take a second to say this is everything. You know, I watched the video. I think John Kurtz is wonderful. If you've watched any of John Kurtz's stuff, he does a lot of really quality things on YouTube talking Big 12 expansion. And he recently did a video about, is there a chance Clemson and Florida State could come to the Big 12? That was the crux of his last videos. And if you've listened to this show, if you're an everydayer of this show, you know that I don't think it's possible. Dennis Dodd of CBS brought it up. It just seems so far-fetched that Clemson and Florida State would ever come to this conference. Why would they leave the ACC to do that? It's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. And in today, I was in the shower where I have all of I'm going to tell you about my shower thoughts, where I have all my best ideas. I thought that's the reason I like the Big 12. This is before I even saw the Pate thing. But that's the reason I like the Big 12. This league is not poaching other conferences to be transactional. This league is not trying to shake up college football and create maximum chaos. This conference is doing this out of necessity, less so out of greed and more so out of necessity. Going and getting Utah was not something that Brett Yormark was like, oh yeah, I'm going to destroy the Pac-12. Ha 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 ha. I don't have a lot of remorse for the Pac-12. Frankly, I don't really. It doesn't affect me that the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. That might sound a little brash to you, but I still get to do Locked On Big 12 and with a more competitive conference. But the league wasn't looking to destroy the Pac-12. It was arrogance on that conference's behalf. So anyone who goes, oh, Brett Yormark is the reason that league doesn't exist anymore, they're completely wrong. The Big 12, again, they're not an orphanage. You're not just taking teams that, we'll take you, Oregon State. We'll try to do something with this. No, it's a business, but it's not one that's run off of greed as much as it is, again, necessity. That's the right word. What the Big 12 needed to do to survive, it did. And that goes back to Bob Bowlesby bringing in UCF, BYU, Cincinnati, and Houston, and what each of those individual schools brought to the table. Now back to the Pate take, that this league is somehow America's baby. It absolutely is. Goes back to the fact that 10 teams are within odds to win the conference this year in football. There is nobody else that exciting. There's nobody else that matters that much. Guess what? We don't have a Georgia. Guess what? We don't have a Vanderbilt. We don't have a Northwestern, who I guess is good now, so I can't keep using that. Purdue, maybe. Pick a bad Big Ten team. It's like half the league. We don't really have those. We've got a lot of really gritty competitive teams, all the way down to the fact that the 10th best team in the league, according to Las Vegas odds to win the conference this year, is TCU. They played for a national championship game 2 years ago, and now they have the 10th best odds. The same head coach, 10th best odds. West Virginia returns effectively everybody, 10 offensive starters. They are 9th preseason in the conference. What that tells me is you are staring down the barrel of the most fun league in the country. That does create a bit of a problem. And I brought this up before. Parity doesn't equate to revenue. And what do we need? We do need revenue. We don't want to be greedy, but we want to survive. The ACC making more than us in the new college football playoff revenue distribution is a raw deal. The SEC and the Big Ten doubling up the Big 12, that's a raw deal. What's fun is the gameplay. Is a Kansas State, Utah. I love the idea of Texas Tech and Arizona, or a TCU and Colorado. That being a conference game, and now like on display. Look at the team in TCU that came to backfill when Colorado left, and they get to duke it out with Big 12 on their jerseys. That's awesome, but does it equate to money? The answer is maybe not as much as the Big 10 of the SEC, but that's what makes the league great, because now it's for the everyman. Parity isn't going to generate a ton of money. For some reason, people love to see Georgia slam Vanderbilt. And then the very next week, slam Mississippi State. And then the next week, they get to slam Missouri. And then they get that one kind of fun matchup against Florida, who they beat the heck out of them too. Whereas in this league, you might get West Virginia playing Iowa State, then West Virginia playing Oklahoma State, then West Virginia playing Utah. That 3-game stretch, a realistic stretch in Big 12 play, is fantastic. You just don't really get the night off, the off game. I don't see a world. There are very few matchups that I can conjure up in my mind where you go, oh, that's a 10-point spread. Kansas State goes on the road to play Arizona State. That's probably like a 9.5-point spread. Kansas State, who's the odds-on favorite to win the league, right there with Utah, goes on the road to play Baylor. That's probably an 8.5-point spread. Utah goes on the road to play West Virginia. That's a 2 versus 9. West Virginia might be favored, or if Utah is favored, it's probably within a field goal. You don't get that with Ohio State and Illinois. You don't get that with Michigan and Indiana. That only comes from this conference. And it's not just the competitive nature of the league that I think makes it so appealing to the everyman. It is instead, you look at this conference and see gritty blue collar programs. Manhattan, Kansas. That to the general viewer, to the average American, is not sexy. Morgantown, West Virginia. Ames, Iowa. Stillwater, Oklahoma. Lubbock, Texas. Waco, Texas. These are programs that are viewed so poorly by a lot of the country that still compete, that still put it on at the top level. And at the same time you have those, you also have Orlando. You have Salt Lake City. You have Fort Worth. You have Boulder. That is a and some-ish sort of regionality to an extent. That, my friends, is a beautiful flipping thing. This league is art. It's poetry. And I love it. I think you should too. It's America's conference. The SEC's not. It's not. We're tired of seeing Alabama kill Mississippi State, and then they go kill Arkansas, and they go kill Western Kentucky. Like, that was your 3-week stretch. Sweet. Nobody likes that. You know, they like us. I like Jerome Tang. He's staying at Kansas State. I hope so. Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Two things that don't go together, the Amazon and Fires. At least that's the hope. But they might when you add in the TV part. Can I take a second, please? Can I take the microphone for a second? Fire TV is something that I was like, I have like a smart TV thing. What is this going to do for me? It changed my life. They have these Fire TV channels that deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, and it's all free. So you even get like Locked On. You can just like boop, boop, boop. It's right there on Fire TV, Locked On. And you get big pro leagues, the MLB, the NBA, college conferences. They let you dive into game analysis, highlights, and more. You can watch March Madness, the NBA, MLB. It's convenient. It's the most convenient thing that I've used. News, entertainment, gaming, travel, any of that stuff you're into. Amazon Fire TV. You can check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. I bet you have an Alexa. Hey, Alexa, did that work? Did that do it for you? Did it? If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me. Learn more. Amazon.com/Locked On Fire TV. That is Amazon.com/Locked On Fire TV.